Welcome to the story of the song. Today I'm going to tell you about the story of my song Melancholy and also hop into the session and talk about the production. So the song Melancholy is about depression. I have suffered from depression and anxiety for hella long, and 3 years ago I got sober. Actually, I just celebrated my 3-year soberversary yesterday. 3 years ago I got sober and I started going to therapy. I started taking Lexapro and I was doing a lot better, and I still am, but I would still sometimes wake up and just be hella emo and depressed for like a week straight, and it's sort of hard to reconcile with the fact that you can change your life and start living better and then still be hella depressed for no reason. I wanted to sing my way through recognizing that depression is this affliction that I guess I'll have to live with forever. And I was really inspired by this book, which is called Darkness Visible by William Styron. This is his memoir about being depressed. He talks about how melancholy is like the original term for depression in the book, which is why that word was in my head. It's a really good memoir if you do have depressive tendencies. It's a very good read and it's quite short as well. My other inspiration was this song that I was writing for Sync, which I was talking about in the last video, which is I got this email for some brand or something needed a 50s kind of song. I actually always loved that kind of music, but I just didn't know how to play that chord progression. So through learning how to play that and writing that sync pitch song, I learned the doo-wop chords. Simultaneously, I was having this existential question about why I was still dealing with depression despite the fact that I had made all these changes to try and make my life more positive. So then after I finished the sync song, I just sat with those chords and started playing them. And honestly, the lyrics for this song just kind of came out of my mouth. And I wrote almost the whole thing in the first sitting. And then I think about a week later, I didn't want to write a second verse, so I had to face my fear of writing a bridge, and I was like, fuck, I guess I'll just write a bridge instead of a second verse. And then that also came out pretty easily. Yeah, that's the sort of inspiration behind the subject matter of the song. And now let's talk about the production of the song. So as I said, I started writing in this style because of this sync track I was making. So this is that. The song was called My Tears Fall Like Rain. It's just like 50 seconds long, but I'll just let you hear a little second of the vocal. Oh, my tears, they fall like rain until the sun shines again. That's pretty much that song. I actually sent that song to the Discord when I first finished it, so Discord members have heard that. I had that track, and then, as I said, I just had the chords. So let me go into the Melancholy session, and I'll show you what I did in there. Probably the most interesting production of this song was that I recorded the vocals with this bullet microphone, which is like what you would use to record a harmonica or to play a harmonica live. Because of the sort of retro styling of the song, I thought it would be cool if the vocal had a little bit more grit to it as opposed to using like a condenser mic. I think that this bullet mic added a lot of character. Check out my extremely lo-fi screen recording. I don't feel like actually recording my screen, so I'm just gonna shoot it like this. So this is the session. We have the guitar here, classic, just the chords. This is pretty naughty, but I actually just DI'd an acoustic guitar for this, and then I put it through like an amp sim. I'm not above DIing an acoustic guitar. It's weird because when I recorded the demo, I was like, I'm definitely gonna re-record that, and then when I tried to re-record a proper guitar, it just like didn't sound right, I think because I'd heard my DI'd acoustic too many times. So that's that, and then I doubled the guitar, and then here we have the plucky melody, also DI'd acoustic. Sorry, not sorry. And then for my session, I just had this like really janky MIDI bass. But as you saw in the studio vlog, Braden went in and redid the bass. I also had this drum loop on Easy Drummer, which I had Nate replay again on real drums. And then we have these funny harmonies. My heart will never mend. I had originally thought I was gonna re-record those, and I actually even tried. You can see down here, Minky Voice Bullet which I tried to redo it with the bullet mic, but once again, something about like the first takes that I did, because when I was making this session initially, I was like demoing, quote unquote, the song and also kind of writing it for the first time. So these first high voice harmonies just hit, and we had talked about actually having Catherine, my fiance, sing them, get some actual female voices on there, but there's something kind of peculiar about the way my falsetto sounded that I liked, so we just kept it. And then the last element was really just this little lead that I wrote. I was actually falling asleep one night and that melody came in my head. And I feel like that really like glued it together. I also wrote all the piano parts on just MIDI, but of course it sounded silly, so this is like the demo session that also then turned into the actual song once I added all the instruments on it. So that's the story of Melancholy. That's the first single from my new album called Surrender Instead, which is coming out on August 8th. Be sure to listen to the song, watch the music video that's on this channel. Thanks for coming for the story of the song. There's a new single coming out on July 8th. So keep your ears peeled for that. And be sure to join the Discord, which is in the bio, if you want to be hip to whatever's coming next before anybody else. So I'll see you guys next week and be blessed.